Help support the show by joining the Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. Also, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more Browns-focused content.
For the first time in quite some time, I'm actually excited to do a film breakdown. Like, I've gone through it, I've looked at it, I'm pretty encouraged by what I see. Obviously, when we talk about Shedeur, given the circumstances that the Browns are in, and the circumstance that comes with Shedeur, there's a lot of other conversation that can kind of distract from the football of it all, right? Will the Browns draft the quarterback if they get the proper pick? Shedeur, his fan base, is it too much to deal with? All of this stuff can kind of distract you from talking about the actual football of it. But what I do enjoy about the turn in the conversation is that the football is actually sometimes good. And this is a really good game for Shedeur. I thought he did a really good job showing better pocket maneuverability. I thought he did a much better job in his drops, was very happy with the work there. Being on time is still, a work in progress, but it is getting better every week. So there's just a lot of progress happening here with Shedeur right now. What that means for his future, everything else, those are conversations for the end of the season. But if we're just talking about the game he played against the Titans and kind of matching that up with some of the other positive stuff that we have seen from him and matching it up with some of the other stuff that wasn't so positive from him, I think we're starting to see a clear picture of somebody who is clearly an NFL player. How far we go after that is yet to be determined, right? But what we're seeing right now is somebody who definitely looks like they belong in the NFL at the very least. We're going to look at the film. It's going to be a long one. Just going to warn you right now. This is going to be a long video. We're talking about just raw footage, about 10 minutes of game tape that we're going to go over. So it's probably going to be a 40, 50-minute video. So get something to eat, strap in. We're going to talk about all of it. But before we do, got to thank my sponsor, Sleeper. Real quick, just want to let you guys know Sleeper has a new offer here. They're offering a free $20 entry, no deposit required. And also, if you're a first-time user, you also will receive a 100% match on up to $100 when you use the promo code Worst Take. Again, $20 free, no deposit required. Plus, first-time users also receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. Join Sleeper. Again, the first thing I noticed when I watched Shedeur's tape this week is just how much better his drops were. Look at the drop here, right? What we have seen too much with Shedeur is he takes these drops and he drifts right? Where it's like instead of dropping like straight back, hitting a point, hitching up, he's drifting off here and he's walking his way into pressure, right? So that's been a huge problem for Shedeur. And I thought last week was a big problem for Shedeur. It forced him to be off time, off schedule. And Shedeur is when he is poised, he does a really good job at this, right? This is another situation. Look at the drop. You see how he just stays on that vertical line here? Small details like this are a big thing for quarterbacks, right? So stays on that line. And then what I really appreciate, right? This is not the most difficult throw in the world. And you can see the concept pretty clearly. You're running mesh, right? So if you don't know what mesh is at home, I'll draw it out for you. Jerry Jeudy, and I believe this gentleman running the drags here, and then you have a tight end. And you have a tight end. So drag, tight end, sitting over the ball. Let's see what else they're running on top of this. Yeah, so drag here, and then mesh rail. So rail route, ball route, met two drags. So drag, ball route. You've seen this play if you played any bit of Madden, right? This is called mesh rail. The alert to mesh rail is always going to be, hey, check and make sure that rail's not going to be open. You look here, the rail's covered, they're accounted for. Then you check to see if it's man or zone indicators. It looks like it's zone, but because this corner clears and vacates to take care of the rail, this space is cleared, and that's where the ball ends up going. Good getting through the play, and then the pocket stuff is really what I'm concerned about here, right? The pocket gets collapsed here. Jeffrey Simmons just destroys Joe Bitonio. Shedeur has a lot of pressure in his face. It would have been real easy for him to bail, but he stays with the structure of the play. He gets this ball off, and it might not seem like a big deal, but you get 3 yards and you're in 3rd and 7, which opens up more of the playbook. Again, the drop here is key for me. Look how straight the drop is. Remember last week, if we play drops from last week, the drops were just disgusting, right? This is much, much, much better, right? Look at that. On a string, there it is. Pressure, stays calm, plants the feet, throws the ball there. And you're a missed tackle away from that being a big play. All right, now we're at 158 in the first. What I have marked here is a good job escaping. Let's see what he does. This is the play where he tried to make something happen. And he gets rid of the ball here. All right, so let's go through it, right? Let's first look at what's happening on the play side. Is anybody open? You got the trips on the top. Looks like it's well covered. You got a linebacker. Is that a linebacker, 33? It looks like in the alignment. Yeah, so they do a good job of bracketing this, so they're ready for it, right? So this is all covered. We go through this play. That's not open. That's not open. Well, hold on. That could be open. But no, that's not open, actually. That's not open. That would be a very dangerous throw. So I would say that's not open. That's not open. That's not open. That's not open. Now it is 3rd and 8. You are on the 20. Shedeur decides to hold the ball for a little bit of extra time to try to make a play. I'm okay with that, right? Shedeur is a playmaker. I think that's something that he does have to his game. So, in situations like this where the play is covered, allow him to play make, right? Tries to get something going here. Nothing goes here. He rolls out, and then he finally gets rid of the ball. And the only thing here would be just like, hey, once you roll out here, and then you plan again, and you don't see anything, now it's no throw. But I do give Shedeur some credit here, right? Reason I give Shedeur credit is he has to feel all of this pressure right here, right? Like they're going to let him through. You need your quarterback to stay calm and throw through a very tight passing lane. Well, not throw through a tight passing lane, but get the ball through a lane to make sure that play can go off on the right timing too, right? One of Dylan Gabriel's biggest problems, and I hate to harp on him, because his story is pretty much wrapped up here for this season, right? He's not going to play for the rest of the year if Shedeur stays healthy. So there's no reason to kick him while he's down. But the reason I bring up Dylan is one of the things he had a big problem with was timing on his screens, right? He just had never got the timing right. He would be just too quick to throw them. Here, Shedeur feels the pressure, but he's still going to feel out the screen and get this ball out right. And that matters, right? You throw the screen too early, 93, big T'Vondre Sweat gets a palm out, gets a hand on the shoulder of Quincy, and that's it for the play, right? But you get the right timing here, which requires you to take a little hit. It's not a difficult throw at all. But the timing of it, right? The poise required, that's the difficult part for a screen. You might think it's easy, but, really nice here. We're going to see the end zone angle of this play. And again, like, you know, you got two big boys, big fast guys coming at you, right? You got big Jeffrey Simmons, you got big T'Vondre Sweat. And the thing about this play is that the way that the protections are set, you're pulling guys out. So this guy's gonna have a free run at you. You just gotta anticipate it, right? That's part of the play here, right? So they're gonna pull out guys to release into the flat to block for Quinshawn, which means, hey, we're gonna let T'Vondre get upfield. That's part of the play here. And you gotta just be comfortable with him being through and then get that ball off on time. You're gonna get hit. The protection is weak on purpose because you're trying to get offensive linemen out to block for Quinshawn. And you did that out there. By the way, Cam Robinson, nice. Get out there. There we go. Love to see that. Love that shit. Well-designed screen. Great play call by Tommy Rees. Right? Great design by Rees and Stefanski. Great play call by Rees in this one. Nice effort there by Cam Robinson. Nice little block there. Posick does a good job moving out in space, and then Quinshawn does the rest because Quinshawn is a beast. Real easy to be like, oh, it's just the screen. You know what I mean? It's real easy to take away credit in the NFL, right? But you know, when you see stuff that is not necessarily the easiest thing to do, but it's not the most difficult stuff to do, you still get credit for it, right? 3rd and 1 here. This is actually, I think, his first mistake of the game, but it doesn't matter because it's a touchdown. So it's an absolute beautiful throw to score a touchdown here, right? Have no problem about a player we want to develop. So you got to talk about, hey, what do you want him to do better going forward, right? The result of the play, really good, right? Throws this to David Njoku. It's a really tight throw, really nice ball here. It's a covered receiver, but you get the ball in the right place. Great job here, right? If you're going to be wrong really, really good right here, right? You want Shedeur to be able to read, hey, this linebacker just triggered downhill. This linebacker's flat-footed. You have a receiver going over top here. The decision's clear. You don't take the double coverage in this window. You take this as your answer. So he picked the wrong answer because look, Harold Fan is going to be wide butt booty naked open here, right? And you can anticipate it just by how this linebacker is playing it. So he's going to be wide open. But hey, if you're going to be wrong really, really well. You can learn after a touchdown, you know. Quarter 2, easy last week. This is so much better. So last week, there were plays where they called this action, right? And you would see Shedeur take that ball and just keep rolling. But it's not like a rollout, right? Where the design is to roll out here and then they're trying to get set here. It would be like, hey, you're supposed to stop here, but then he just keeps drifting over, right? That was a big problem last week. Right here, he does the right thing. Gets over, finds his landmark. For this play right here, your landmark is going to be the hash that you snap on. So your landmark, if you're Shedeur, is about right here. You want to find your landmark. So you're trying to sell the fake, and then you're going to pop back up on your landmark, and then you're going to be in a position to make a good throw here, right? So handoff, sells the fake. You know, probably could do a little bit better of a job between him and the running back selling that, both of these guys, right? Because look how much space there is between them. It's not really the most convincing fake in the world, but he does show the ball at the very least. You know, they could get better with that over time, though. It's not like the biggest deal in the world. It's very fixable. What you want here is this, right? The rollout here, pop stop, top of the step, boom, finds the landmark. And remember last week where I was like, man, he had a really hard time finding his windows because he keeps drifting. This one, he's a lot more accurate and finds the window a lot better when he's stationary, which I think is a key for Shedeur. Shedeur's a really accurate passer, and Shedeur can throw on the run and be accurate on the run, But really, Shedeur, like anybody, is going to be more accurate when he's throwing from a more stationary position. So you get him to plant here on his landmark, he's able to find that second level and throw an accurate ball. Really nice. Really good progress. Remember, last week, he did not do that well. You know, you go back and watch the film breakdown from last week. Look at the drops last week compared to this week. It's a world of difference here. Right? Look how vertical his drops are. All right. Right here, you can make the argument he could have threw this to Jerry Jeudy, so we could go back to the top of this play. Right here on the backside of this play, he has Jerry Jeudy. Jerry gets a nice release on 26. Really nice stuff here from Jerry at the bottom of your screen. And look, I know a lot of people are out on Jerry Jeudy because he's Jerry Jeudy and he does Jerry Jeudy stuff, and I understand. But Jerry Jeudy's a good football player, and he's going to be helpful to this team going forward. You just got to put him in a better position to win. Right here, look at the hands here. Boom, good step. Look at that. Look at that release. That's not a common release. You're not just going to pick somebody off the waiver wire who could do that. Look at the release here. Boom, out of position for 26, wins, cuts that off, breaks that off at the top of his route. Got to let it fly. Got to let it fly. For whatever reason, he did not want to let it fly. I'm pretty sure Shedeur went back to the iPad and said, oh, fuck, I should have let it fly. He should have let it fly here. But again, if you're going to be wrong really, really good. Right? That's always an option. You're going to be wrong here. Okay, you're wrong. But it's 3rd and 3. So I'm not that mad. Nobody's that mad. Right? Definitely should have got this ball off to Jerry Jeudy. I understand that the progression was not that you were going to see that release from Jeudy. And you can't necessarily feel it from the backside there. But once you get eyes over and you see this, you see Jeudy's number with 26 tailing. Yeah, that's an automatic rip here in this coverage, right? Got to be more confident in the coverage to automatic rip here because it's middle open, right? This linebacker, he's too shallow to do anything about this. It's middle open. It's a huge window here. Got to let it rip. Got to let it rip. Let Jerry Jeudy do the running for you, right? Because you get that ball to Jerry Jeudy, he can make a man miss. We saw it earlier in this game, and that could be 6, you know. You never know. That's why he's on the team, right? Dynamic playmaker. Got it wrong, but Shedeur was really good at being wrong here. And you'll see on the backside of this play, so if you look at this side of the screen, you'll see Jerry Jeudy pop open here from the end zone angle right here. He wants to throw it there. He just gets scared off by something. I think from looking at the end zone angle, he got spooked here by a ghost. He saw a ghost here, right? I think he felt T'Vondre Sweat start to win here, but he did not feel his offensive line, his guard, recover. So Joe starts to get beat here by T'Vondre, but Joe actually does a good job of recovering. And he just didn't trust it. Yeah, I trust it because even if Joe gets beat there, you're going to make that throw. You're going to make that throw. You might get hit a little bit, but you're going to make that throw, right? Can't be scared. And I'm not saying Shedeur was scared or anything. I think he just felt it, reacted, and that's when he wants back. We cost him like 4 or 5 yards, so it's not that big of a deal. All right, second quarter. Are we at second quarter already? Right, 2:58. This is just a very nice throwing route by Jerry Jeudy and Shedeur Sanders here. Again, Jerry Jeudy, you're going to watch him. I believe this is him right here at the bottom of your screen. Watch this route by Jeudy. Great release, great ball, and then that's the result we want, right? And you get Jerry Jeudy that ball in motion, he can do a lot with it. I mean, this guy almost had like 500 yards in a game last year. Like I understand Jerry Jeudy has become the target to a lot of people's frustration online. But we have to remember Jerry Jeudy is so talented that he almost had 500 yards in the receiving game or something crazy like that last year, right? So we know that he's good. We know that he's very talented. And yeah, he might be frustrated. He might be frustrating But there's a reason that you're willing to sit through all the frustrating stuff, because what he can get to talent-wise is worth it. You know, you don't want to be like Pittsburgh, where you're like, oh, it's too much trauma. We don't want to deal with George Pickens. You trade George Pickens to, the Dallas Cowboys, and you just ended up giving somebody one of the best 5 receivers in football for a discount because you were too tired to deal with social media stuff, right? Like, you don't want that to be your life. Jerry Jeudy's a talented receiver. Shedeur seems to be building his chemistry with him. And look what happens here, right? Great release, just like the play before. I mean, this is like the third time we looked at a Jerry Jeudy release and we're like, oh, yeah, he whipped ass. And then does a great job getting vertical. Ball thrown right on time. Great job by Shedeur. Let's see what Shedeur was dealing with in the pocket. It was a pretty clean pocket, clean drop. He throws it on time, hits that first window. He scores. And remember, versus San Francisco, we were talking about that, right? The throw he missed to Jerry Jeudy at the beginning of the game. If he had, we all love Jerry Jeudy again. Isn't that great? That's awesome. All right, third quarter, 11:51. This is the area of the game where he struggled in, right? This is one I think he wants back. He left the pocket a little early here. So still shades of that, right? This time he had a little bit more reason than the earlier example of this, because big Jeffrey Simmons does whip some ass right here. He just ends up falling down. Still, even in that situation, you probably want him to kind of stay put a little bit more. I don't know. I don't really blame him for this one. Cedric Tillman does pop open, and it is the famous Kevin Stefanski. Loves these. So does Tommy Rees. These are always going to be money here, right? It's a blitz. Ball has to get out quick. This is one of the things about how Kevin and Tommy like to structure their offense. They're not really for quick hitters on blitzes. They want to hit the big home runs here. I would have loved if they could have something a little bit more accessible here. So what they have is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-man protection. So 6P, 5 offensive linemen, 1 running back. He stays in. But they have nothing in this area of the field for Shedeur to get the ball off to, right? So it's a pretty heavy blitz, and there's really nothing quick here, right? The quickest thing you got going is this route by Isaiah Bond, I believe, which just is not ran well, right? So you got this from Isaiah Bond, who I imagine he's looking here. He needs to run that with more urgency, because by the time Shedeur is looking for an answer, Isaiah Bond does not have his head around. So you got to get to that spot and get your fucking eyes around, or else you're never going to get the ball. And if you're running the check down, it's a real big problem, because the whole purpose of you being out there is to get the fucking ball if something goes wrong. So a little bit more urgency here from Isaiah Bond would be appreciated. I'm just saying. But yeah, the way that this play is designed is really not going to beat this blitz, because there's nothing in the area of the blitz where you vacate. So really, if they had something right here in this area, it would have been really effective. But everything is right here into where they rolled their 5-man coverage. So it's not the right play call in for this blitz. The Tennessee Titans win that battle here. And then Shedeur rolls out. By the time he rolls out, the timing, the window for the dig is off, so you don't want to throw it. It's a tough play here. All right, little handoff, roll off here. Okay, this is not good. So we saw the one earlier, right? This is one where Shedeur got sped up a little bit. And again, it's like, I think he throws better from a stationary place than moving, right? It's not really a shocking idea to get to. He doesn't really get to his landmark here. He kind of rolls out. And maybe that's the design of the play, but I think he just felt like there would be rushing yards here for him, because it's 3rd and 3. So he kind of just rolls this one out. I think like right here is when he decides he's not going to pass. And he wants to like throw. Then he makes this decision to just throw in the triple coverage here. Very dangerous football. Got to stay away from that. I think he kind of made up his mind before the play. I'm being honest. That's what it looks like. Again, much like you saw earlier, you want him to get to a landmark on this rollout and plant and then find Harold Fainin, who does pop open here. Now I think he would have still beat 25 even if Shedeur doesn't roll out there. Shedeur rolled out here, so he did roll down and check down to the second guy. If Shedeur doesn't, he definitely plays this a little bit more honest. But I still think Harold probably has a little bit of a window here, even if he rolls back. Either way, he just didn't get to play the best chance to succeed there. Right? You roll towards 33 by running away instead of making 33. Go to the next one. This one is third quarter, 3:07 left. Oh no, 7:25, 35 left. Yeah, just in general with his play fakes, he's got to sell this stuff a little better. You know, he doesn't sell this well. So what the Browns are trying to do is take advantage of the Titans' aggressiveness when Shedeur rolls out. So they're trying to fake a rollout, shift the defense over this way, make them play half the field, and then they're going to roll something underneath it like a screen to throw to catch them off guard and hit a big hitter, right? The problem here is that what Shedeur does is just not convincing enough to suck away the attention of the Titans defense, because this right here just, it doesn't feel intentional, right? The sell here isn't great. But what they're trying to do, you can see right there, play action. They have a wheel route here, or not a wheel, but a 9 here. And then they're trying to roll the rest of the defense this way, clear out this void, and then throw this screen here. That's the design of the play. I think it's a nice idea. Shedeur's got to sell it just a little bit better, and he's got to throw a better ball here, because it still could have worked if you just throw a better ball. So yeah, you had the block, and then he releases out here. This is design. Again, you want to occupy that linebacker and have that linebacker chasing like you're going to be going towards the boundary, and then open up more space here. You also got to get a better throw off, because this makes him have to turn around, gives the linebacker too much time to come back. So just a couple of things. Just don't let this play call be what it is, but you definitely keep this one in the book, because if you can run it with cleaner execution, it's going to be a big play here. Right? Yeah, you got to sell this one. He's got to get out to this spot, so he's got to do the fake. The fake has to be more convincing. His play fakes are not convincing right now, right? That has to be more convincing. He doesn't even extend his arms. You got to extend your arm here, and you got to jet to this landmark. You got to go there with some giddy up, like, oh shit, I got to go this way, right? If you go out here and you're kind of like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get to this spot, this linebacker's just gonna slide over, and he's gonna feel like something's up, and he's gonna sniff it out. And that's what happened here. On top of not throwing a great ball. Great design, the execution just wasn't what it needed to be there. Next play here, third quarter, 3 minutes and 3. Great throw here. No notes. A good check here, right? Harold releases. Amani Hooker's on him. He sees Harold get him right here, right? The little hesitation. Once he sees that, it's a green light. All right, 2nd and 20. Later, that situation that you're in. It's 2nd and 20, right? You're in 2nd and 20. There's 3 minutes. How much time was left in the game when he threw that interception? So look at the game situation here if you're Shedeur. Ball is on the 45. Big picture. Ball is on the 45. Yes, it's 2nd and 20, but the ball is on the 45. Third quarter, 1 minute, 57 seconds left. And you're up by 3 points. So you're +3 right now. I don't need you to turn into a check down guy in this situation, but you do have to be responsible, right? And this is some of the areas where Shedeur shows a little bit more lapses than normal, right? Like the game management stuff seems to be a bit of a struggle for him at times where he has to think about, his willingness and ability to make a play versus how much does a team really need that shit right now, right? You want to have a better balance than Shedeur has demonstrated so far. This is a bad play here. So very, very worst, right? The Browns go and the drive stalls out and it's 4th and 20 and they have to punt from the 45. That's still fine if you're the Browns because theoretically you're thinking you can pin them within the 10 and then get the ball back with solid field position and a fresh set of downs. You play a long game there, right? Your defense should be really good. You can get this ball back. It'll be the 4th quarter. It's not the end of the world if the drive stalls out here, basically, right? You're fine punting the ball once you're past the 40. Or, you can maybe try to inch forward, get 10 yards here, 5 yards here. Maybe if you have the wind to your back, you could kick a field goal. Maybe you could go for it and try to keep the drive alive this way, right? Those are all the situations you could do. You can't take a sack here, and you can't throw an interception. Stefanski deserves a lot of blame for how the game went. But part of the reason the Browns didn't win this game is this interception, right? Dylan Sampson's fumble, Shedeur's interception, both those things led to 14 points. If the Browns don't give up those 14 points on offense, then the Titans don't win this game. So it could be real easy to point fingers at one individual or another because they're more visibly responsible for something, especially at the end of the game. But right here, Shedeur plays situational football, doesn't make this big mistake here. The Browns probably win this game. There were multiple points in this game where if the Browns just don't make this one mistake here, whether it be going for 2 when you don't have to, whether it be fumbling the snap, whether it be forgetting the play call, whether it be fumbling the ball, whether it be throwing this interception. That's 5 off the top of my head right here. 5 off the top of my head. If the Browns don't make one of those mistakes, they probably win that game versus the Tennessee Titans. But we made all 5 of those mistakes. And all 5 of those mistakes are why you did not win this game versus the Tennessee Titans. And if you're Shedeur, you got to own your 1/5 of that problem, right? Not just the coaches why you didn't win. You made this mistake. You don't make that mistake, you probably win the game. That's tough, but that's the life. And if you're Shedeur Sanders, you know that you need to win these games in order to disincentivize the Browns from taking a quarterback in next year's draft, because the lower the Browns draft position, the higher the chance they're going to take a quarterback. So Shedeur's aware of all of this. And I'm pretty sure he's thinking about that now. But you just can't make this mistake, right? There's really no reason. This is not going to be open. They have the right call in, right? Tennessee beat you on this one, right? You got nothing in here. We can complain about the fact that there's no check downs here for Shedeur to get the ball to get 7-6 yards for, but this is what they wanted in. This is the call they had in here. Nothing's open. Maybe you can hit this check down. Jeffrey Simmons comes in there. At this point, the play is dead. Just throw the ball out of bounds. The play is dead. He decides to just throw this ball YOLO in the middle of the field. I don't know what he saw. I don't know what he thought was going to happen. But this is a horrible idea. There's really no excuse for it. By the time he releases this ball, there's absolutely no reason to think that this is going to be successful. There's no world. Like, I think JP O'Sullivan has a great term for this in the history of football. Just a bad ball here, right? But let's move forward, right? You make that mistake. Not that you make that horrific mistake. It's how you respond to it. And I thought he responded to it well. All right, so 4th quarter here. After having some bad drops, I thought he recovered here. And then again, look at this drop here from Shedeur. Boom, boom, boom. Real tight, right? Nothing crazy, but real good drop here, right? 1, 2, 3 step. He's ready to throw early, ready to be on time. Really good feat by Shedeur here. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. This one, 9:24 in the fourth. Really nice decision, but he needed to be a little bit earlier to it. Yeah, so I don't mind this decision here. Need you to be earlier to it, and I need you to drive that ball, right? And I think that's the next thing Shedeur needs to work on. Is there are some moments here where he makes a good decision. He's a little late here, right? By the time he throws this, it's a little late. Ball should have probably been out right here, right? Ball should have been out here. It's a little late. If you're going to be late, you got to drive it. He doesn't drive it, right? This ball doesn't really drive. You see how it floats? It floats in there. He doesn't drive it, and it just leaves too much time for that player to respond underneath or react underneath. So if you're going to be late, you got to drive the ball in there. And you want to be on time for this in general, over the middle of the field. You just really need to be accurate and on time. Right? Little late, and he doesn't drive it and make up for it with drive. And that's something you have to watch with Shedeur, right? You know, the arm strength concerns, he has a fine arm. The issue with the arm that I think some people confuse with arm strength is, can he drive the ball, right? Does he have a variety of pitches? Does he have a changeup, fastball, you know, those kind of things? That's why I want to see more of from Shedeur is like, okay, you know, he loves to throw a floater, right? He throws a nice catchable ball. Sometimes I need you to just drive that ball in there, right? Boom, drive it in there. Beat the man to the spot. Didn't really do that there. You're going to be late. You got to drive it. They're a little faster. This is another play here. And look, he makes the play. It's not a bad rep for him. The completion here to Cedric Tillman. But I think he could have got a lot more out this completion here. You just throw him, if you drive this ball a little bit more, right? You get a clean enough pocket where you can drive it. Go ahead and drive that ball. Don't let it float. Don't let it sink, get high on you. Cedric does a nice job of adjusting to this. But if you drive that ball to Cedric, Cedric can catch that and he can get north, right? Cedric's pretty good with the ball in his hand, so he can get north, and you're going to be in a game where you need a quick score, right? You're down 11. You need a quick score. You drive that ball to Cedric, boom, right here. Cedric can turn upfield. He's not going to score a touchdown, but he might get to the 45. He might get to the 35. It's going to be a huge chunk play. So this was a good result, especially on a 3rd and 10. You want to convert first and foremost. So you get the helmet sticker, right? If we were handing that out for the conversion. But also, if you're Shedeur, hey, how could you make this even better? How could you take this to the next level? Drive the ball, give him a more accurate ball that he doesn't have to adjust to, and then let him go north here, because that's going to be a big play. I think I'm just making a big deal out of nothing here. There are multiple examples coming up that show you the difference driving the ball makes here, right? So let's go here. 5:57 left in the fourth quarter, 2nd and 10, 2nd and 20, my bad. Look at the drive here on this football, and look how much of a difference it makes. So it's a drive ball. There's no adjustment necessary. Look how much more you can get out that play now, right? It was 2nd and 20. He catches this at the 26. So we're still a long way from converting this, right? This is what, a 2-yard gain if the play ends where he catches it. You know, maybe a 6-yard gain by the time he gets up there, right? If he has to adjust and turn around, 33 can tackle him. It's just going to be what, 3rd and 15, and it's a dead drive. But you drive this ball to him accurate on time, boom, he's able to catch it, turn upfield, and all of a sudden, a 2nd and 20 turns into a 3rd and 4. Makes it love that, right? You don't want to take that away from him. So let's watch here what happens. Play completely gets blown up. Bull rush right into the lap. He stays calm, poised, eyes still downfield. And, shout out to, who is that? 72 KT Leviston for continuing to fight here, right? Because KT actually helps out Shedeur here. KT pushes his man into Jeffrey Simmons, and that frees up Shedeur. So Shedeur gets out of that. Nobody has him. Great job by the right tackle there, KT, who gets shit on a lot, but that was a really good play. And then great job by Shedeur here to realize, oh, one-on-one, and I got a big-ass Devondre Sweat in space. And again, just 3rd and 4. And again, the difference being on time, accurate, and driving the football makes. Here, on time, window, drives, watch how Dylan Sampson does not have to adjust to this ball. Nice catch, boom, upfield, and look what Dylan Sampson could do. The one thing the Browns have, right, you got to remember, it's a West Coast-based offense. And what West Coast offenses are going to be heavy in is yards after catch. It's a big part of the West Coast offense. You want to think of a wide receiver who embodies the West Coast offense style. Terrell Owens is probably the most notable name you can think of off the top of your head. And think about what most of Terrell Owens' highlights are. It's yards after catch, right? Obviously, he can make great, spectacular catches, but he wasn't a 50-50 guy as much as he was a great yard after catch guy. So that's the West Coast offense, right? The Browns run a variation of the West Coast, which means getting the ball out accurate, on time, in stride, in rhythm is going to be really important because it allows the playmakers you have on the field to be playmakers. And look, the Browns wide receiving core might not be filled with, spectacular catch guys, but what they do have is a number of people who can hurt you after the catch. David Njoku, spectacular after the catch. Harold Fainin, spectacular after the catch. Jerry Jeudy, spectacular after the catch. You're watching Dylan Sampson be spectacular after the catch. They have a wide variety of those kind of guys who can get a little separation, get the ball, get going, and they can be dangerous after the catch. And that's why it's so important in this offense with this personnel to be on time, because you do have guys who, if they get the ball in stride on time, they can plant and they can make people miss. They can make people break. They can break tackles. They can get upfield and they can make shit happen for you. I know that some people on social media try to use like, oh, he had broken tackles or he had a lot of those receiving yards were yards at the catch as a negative, right? I've seen this with all the quarterbacks that the Browns have had used as a negative, right? Shedeur, Dylan, Joe Flacco, people try to use this as negative. It's just a misunderstanding of what the offense is about, right? It's supposed to be a lot of yards after catching this offense. That's the point of the offense, right? And I think Shedeur really did a good job of executing that this week. And then we're looking at this final play from him, which I thought was fantastic, right? Gets to his heels. He gets backed up a little bit, right? A little bit more than you want, but he finds his base and he plants here, throws his ball up, gives Harold Fainin a chance, and Harold Fainin rewards him for that. We'll look at play when he's out there. Got a bunch of dudes shirtless behind him too as well. But that's the review of Shedeur. I told you guys it's going to be a long one, but it's a really good one. I think this is one of the more rewarding film breakdowns I've been able to do all season. So happy for that. Shedeur is showing a lot of progress. I think we should take it 1 week at a time, right? And get to the end of the season and make a determination then. But with Shedeur, it's positive progress. But, it's also against the Tennessee Titans team that has had their struggles, The Tennessee Titans also aided the Browns on those 2 touchdown drives, really just getting in their own way penalty-wise. So it's hard to judge how much of this you want to take going forward. But the good news is, with Shedeur, he's going to get an opportunity to play 3 teams that are going to be in the playoffs. The Chicago Bears, the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the Buffalo Bills. And there's going to be no doubt about if those teams are significant NFL challenges, right? Those aren't 1-win teams coming up. What I do think has gone Shedeur's way is, one, he's gotten better every week. He has improved at certain things every week. Some weeks are better than others, but, he's still making progress every week. And what I think is important for Shedeur is that he got a good base in before he heads to that challenge, which is the rest of the schedule. He's a starter for the rest of the year. I expect the Browns to really unleash the playbook for him. So they're going to let him do more, unlock more for him. I think they're really going to take a lot of the training wheels off the offense. I think you saw that about halfway through this game that they did that for him. And, there's going to be some growing pains with that for sure. But I'm excited to see where Shedeur takes that. So this next month is going to be pretty big for Shedeur. They're going to give him a real look as quarterback one for the rest of the year. And he's going to throw the ball 30, 40 times. I'm just telling you this right now. They're going to throw the ball a lot more these next 4 weeks. And I think he deserves that opportunity. He's earned that opportunity on the field. So super happy with what I saw this week. Got to see more of it, obviously. And then once we get to the end of the season, we'll see where we're at. We'll see what the film says. And we will have those conversations accordingly. But yeah, super happy with what I saw. You guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.